didn't suffer. I know how them kids suffer. And people don't understand that I was on death row, finna get a needle in my arm because of rat, bro.
Boosie has had a complicated history with the law, and it appears that battle is far from over. The rapper is back in custody, and recently released footage from jail shows him looking noticeably unwell. Many fans feel the system is deliberately targeting him, and the surrounding circumstances only seem to support that belief. Let's break it down. From the streets to federal court, Boosie Badazz has always been seen as a voice of authenticity, someone who openly raps about the challenges of street life. So, when it came out that he had accepted a federal plea deal that could result in up to 2 years behind bars, his community reacted immediately and passionately. It all started like a typical day for the Baton Rouge native. On May 6, 2023, Boosie was in San Diego for work, filming a music video and preparing for a performance at the Phantom Lounge in the Gaslamp Quarter. This was a routine business trip, one that helped support his family, including his 9 children. However, both the streets and social media appear to be under constant watch. During the video shoot, San Diego police reportedly monitored the Instagram live stream of a known neighborhood gang member. That's when Boosie was spotted with what seemed to be a black firearm tucked into his waistband. Consider this: law enforcement actively monitoring social media, waiting for someone to make a mistake on live video. It's a level of surveillance that would make anyone in the public eye, especially someone with a criminal record, pause.
I guess, look, all the years, I've known you for like 20 years now, right? And I've never seen a gun around you.
Right.
I'm being honest.
Right.
This is not me in front of the camera. I've never seen a gun on the coffee table. I've never seen it tucked in, nothing.
Right.
The response to the situation was dramatic, showing just how far authorities will go when they target someone. Police deployed a helicopter to follow the black Mercedes SUV Boosie was traveling in. Eventually, they pulled the car over, citing a red light violation. During the stop, officers found 2 loaded firearms, a Glock and a Hellcat. Boosie attempted to take responsibility on behalf of his security, stating one weapon belonged to an associate. Prosecutors, however, dismissed this explanation entirely. This is where the case escalated to the federal level. Authorities claimed Boosie had obtained both firearms in Georgia and transported them to San Diego via Delta Airlines that same day. This interstate transport provided the basis for federal charges. At first, the matter seemed purely local. Boosie faced state charges from the San Diego County District Attorney, including possession of a firearm by a prohibited person, carrying a concealed weapon in a vehicle, possession of ammunition by a prohibited person, and possession of an unregistered firearm. His legal team initially felt confident, hoping a probation deal could avoid jail time. But on June 14, 2023, federal authorities revealed a different strategy. The San Diego County Superior Court quietly dropped the state charges, leading Boosie to believe he might walk free. Yet as soon as he left the courtroom, federal agents were waiting to arrest him on a felon in possession charge.
The state case was dropped, and out of nowhere, the feds picked it up.
Now, it was a state case. The feds came, picked it up.
The federal arrest immediately frustrated Boosie's lawyers. Attorney Megan Blanco criticized the move, claiming the feds violated their own petite policy, which discourages prosecuting someone twice for the same offense. Attorney Damon Allamore suggested that Boosie's outspoken social media commentary on the justice system may have contributed to him becoming a target. The federal case hinged on a legal technicality. Boosie's 2011 marijuana conviction classified him as a prohibited person under federal law, barring him from possessing a firearm. The complication: this was a non-violent offense from over a decade ago. Now, he faced the possibility of 15 years in federal prison for exercising what many consider a constitutional right: owning a firearm. Initially, the judge set Boosie's bond at $100,000, but in federal court, the stakes were far higher. This wasn't a local jail issue. It was a case that could cost him more than a decade of his life. Then, unexpectedly, things shifted. In July 2024, Boosie received a reprieve. U.S. District Judge Kathy Ann Benaruno dismissed the federal gun charge, citing a Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals decision in the Stephen Shorty Duarte case, which found it unconstitutional to prevent nonviolent felons from possessing firearms under the Second Amendment.
Had a ruling in the Supreme Court that went in my favor, and the case got dropped by the judge. The case got dropped.
The scene outside the courthouse was emotional. Boosie spoke to reporters saying, "99% of people thought I was going to prison, but God had a different plan." To mark the moment, He removed his ankle monitor and jumped into a pool at San Diego's Sequuan Casino Resort, showing a sense of resilience and celebration. However, the federal government wasn't finished. Less than 2 weeks later, U.S. Attorney Tara McGrath's office re-indicted Boosie on 2 charges: possession of a firearm by a felon involving interstate commerce, and knowingly having a weapon while using controlled substances.
They went appeal the Supreme Court ruling, and they won on the Supreme Court ruling. Now it was back again.
Soon after, a larger panel from the Ninth Circuit Court overturned the previous Duarte decision, ruling that the federal ban on felons owning firearms was constitutional. Boosie's brief freedom ended abruptly. The new charges included a drug-related firearm offense, which carried up to 10 additional years, on top of the original 15-year maximum for the felon in possession charge. Boosie expressed frustration on social media, accusing prosecutors of overreach and claiming racial bias. His case shows how quickly a situation that might have ended in probation can escalate into a full federal prosecution. The message was clear. Once the federal government targets someone, they use every tool to secure a conviction, monitoring social media, deploying helicopters, and arresting him immediately after local charges were dismissed. The intensity of the government's actions against Boosie far exceeded what most people face for similar offenses. It seemed less about law enforcement and more about sending a message to anyone from the streets who speaks openly about their past to understand why Boosie Badazz eventually accepted a federal plea deal in 2025. It's important to consider his long history with the legal system. This wasn't a first-time offender. It was someone who had already faced serious legal challenges, and those past experiences influenced how he navigated this case. When legal issues reach the federal level, prior history becomes a critical factor. Boosie's struggles began early in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, specifically on West Garfield Street, one of the city's toughest housing projects. He was expelled from McKinley High School as a teenager for drug-related problems. Like many in similar environments, he became involved in street activity early, accumulating minor charges before adulthood. In 2009, things escalated when he received a 4-year sentence for drug and firearm possession, charges that tested both his character and resolve. While in prison, he worked to maintain his music career, but external pressures and street dynamics continued to affect his situation. By October 2010, Boosie faced charges that threatened not only his career, but his life. While still incarcerated, he was indicted for first-degree murder in connection with the 2009 killing of Terry Boyd. Prosecutors claimed Boosie paid Michael Marlowe Mike, lauding $2,800 to carry out the shooting in retaliation for a perceived insult. According to their narrative, Boyd had sent Boosie a threatening and disrespectful letter, prompting Boosie to allegedly orchestrate the hit.
Offer you what?
Principle.
What's that?
Principle of first-degree murder.
What does that mean?
Principle mean like you had something to do with it.
The prosecution's case, however, was not strong. Their key witness, Michael Louding, initially implicated Boosie but later recanted, saying police had coerced his confession by threatening him with the death penalty and involving his family. Prosecutors also highlighted a tattoo Louding got 2 weeks after the murder, an AK-47 with the words, "Yo Boosie, who's next?" as supposed evidence of guilt. Another controversial aspect was the use of Boosie's lyrics as evidence. Songs like 187, In and Body Bag, reportedly recorded on the night of the murder, were cited as insight into his mindset. This raised wider concerns about the criminalization of rap lyrics and how artistic expression can be used against musicians in court.
And what was the time that they were offered?
I think it was like 15, but they're running concurrent, so I had like 5 left.
You didn't take it though?
Before the trial got underway, the prosecution tried to propose a plea deal, but Boosie remained resolute, placing full confidence in his legal team.
Okay. How hard was that decision? Because 5 years.
It wasn't hard at all. My lawyer already told me they was beat.
Okay.
My lawyer whooped, bro. It's whooped. I just gotta run it by you. This is whooped.
Right, because it actually went to a jury verdict.
Yeah.
And all 12 jurors said,
not joking.
When the jury returned its verdict in May 2012, the decision came quickly.
How did that feel?
It was one of the best days of my life.
It took the jury only 35 minutes to decide. Boosie was acquitted of first-degree murder. The prosecution's case had clearly failed to persuade them.
I mean, I got found guilty in 36 minutes. Not guilty in 36 minutes.
Oh, that's an open and shut case.
Avoiding a murder conviction didn't immediately grant him freedom. While still in prison, Boosie faced new charges for allegedly managing a drug operation inside Angola prison in Louisiana. These charges extended his sentence, keeping him incarcerated until March 2014. The psychological effects of those years were profound.
How many times have you been told on? By someone you knew?
Probably twice.
Twice. Did either one of those lead to convictions?
No.
Thank God.
No.
Okay, so...
All my convictions are... Oh, yes, it did. Yes, it did.
But this is probably why it hits you a little bit deeper than everyone else.
Yeah.
You've gotten told on that led... How long was the conviction?
8 years. My cousin was taken away. Life at 15 years old because someone corroborated. My uncle was taken away in the 80s. We didn't suffer. I know how them kids suffer. And people don't understand that I was on death row, finna get a needle in my fucking arm because of rain.
Spending time on death row while defending your life leaves deep, lasting impacts. The emotional strain was considerable, and the financial burden was equally significant.
And I had to do parole on that conviction. 4 year, 5 year parole when I got out.
When you look at where your career is right now, if you didn't have to sit down for 5.5 years, do you think you'd be farther along?
Hell, I'd be rich as
Right, because you lost your house.
I lost everything.
You lost everything.
I lost everything. I lost my house. I lost everything. I came back with nothing.
This background helps explain Boosie's approach to the 2023 federal gun case. After confronting a possible death sentence, spending years in prison, losing almost everything, and rebuilding his life from scratch, his outlook on risk, survival, and justice had shifted dramatically. By August 2025, following 3 years of legal battles with the federal government, including dismissals, refilings, new charges, and the looming threat of decades in prison, Boosie reached a breaking point. He turned to his fans on X, posting, "Just accepted a plea from the federal government on my gun case. I thought this case was over and I was going to get on with my life. But God don't make mistakes, and I'm tired of fighting. Talked to my family, and this is the right decision." The weariness in his words reflects the full impact of his past experiences. In the end, it was his family that influenced his choice to accept the plea and move forward.
How do you feel about the sentencing that's coming up?
I just told you I trust in God. That's how I feel. I feel like God because my mama got on my ass the other day and so told me, because my mom, they heavy on God.
His mother's advice carried significant weight, encouraging him to move away from relying on political connections and instead place his faith in divine guidance.
Stop asking important. You taking your faith out. You taking your faith out of God. You ask God to put faith in a man. Stop asking a man. Stop asking people. I could have appealed that, but that'll be 2-3 more years, and I'm just wasn't gonna go to trial with it.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna go to trial with it from the dump actually, but I feel like this the right move for me.
The plea deal, when viewed against the circumstances Boosie faced, was a practical outcome. It included a recommended 2-year sentence, followed by 3 years of supervised release, rather than risking the full 15-year maximum. Notably, prosecutors also decided not to seek a financial penalty due to Boosie's limited resources. This was the same individual who had previously rejected a 15-year plea offer in a murder case. This time, however, he recognized the importance of making a strategic choice. Sometimes preserving freedom outweighs proving a point. While the streets taught him survival, experience taught him when and how to pick his battles, beefs, controversies, and the road ahead. While navigating serious legal challenges, Boosie was simultaneously under intense public scrutiny. Courtroom proceedings were widely covered, but his ongoing conflicts and outspoken remarks continued to draw attention, often unrelated to the case itself. As he prepared for the possibility of serving time, the most personal conflict he faced wasn't necessarily with prosecutors. It was with Charleston White, an internet personality known for targeting Boosie. This dispute has grown beyond typical artist rivalries and become deeply personal.
Marlo Mike was the nigga. He killed 9 black people, my nigga, before he even got 16 years old. But you know what? That kid watched somebody die when he was a baby, and he remembered the murder. And that kid also suffered with mental health. And Lil Boosie running around here talking like he tough in the motherfucker. And got a 16-year-old kid with life without parole.
Charleston White's attacks escalated to a highly personal level. He accused Boosie of threatening a Baton Rouge club promoter to block White from performing, even claiming FBI involvement over alleged safety threats. The conflict went further, with White repeatedly mocking Boosie's diabetes and health conditions. He made predictions about Boosie's decline in prison and even reportedly bet $10,000 on his death behind bars. These remarks go beyond criticism, appearing to exploit health struggles for attention. When Boosie announced his plea deal, White's reaction was widely criticized as disrespectful.
Matter of fact, right now, Father God, in the name of Jesus, I pray Boosie get at least 36 months, God. Father God, he done gotten away too many times. You done gave them too many chances, Lord. Every knee go bow and every tongue go confess. Boosie's knee ain't bowed yet, God, because he still upholds the world and the streets and the same thing that you are against, sexual lust and perversion, God.
White went so far as to write a letter to the federal judge, urging the maximum sentence. The letter referenced Boosie's past murder trial and accused him of disrespecting law enforcement, demonstrating animosity far beyond a typical disagreement. Despite this, Boosie's response has been measured. While many might have retaliated, he has exercised restraint, likely understanding how any reaction could influence his ongoing legal proceedings.
But I guess that never
I don't
happened.
need no apology.
I know, you don't need an apology, but I felt that if I had the chance to do that, I would at least try. Unfortunately, didn't.
Charleston White isn't the only source of controversy surrounding Boosie. His public statements on LGBTQ+ issues have generated widespread backlash beyond his immediate fan base. In February 2020, during an Instagram live session, Boosie criticized NBA star Dwyane Wade's transgender daughter, Zaya Wade, urging Wade not to allow her transition. His comments were widely seen as crossing a line, particularly because they targeted a minor, resulting in accusations of transphobia. In October 2021, Boosie further inflamed tensions by directing hateful remarks at openly gay rapper Lil Nas X, encouraging self-harm and criticizing his openness about sexuality. These statements were broadly condemned, led to bans from multiple platforms, and drew strong reactions from the LGBTQ+ community. Most recently, in January 2024, Boosie faced criticism for walking out of the Color Purple movie due to its portrayal of lesbian relationships. He claimed he was protecting his daughters from content he considered inappropriate. Critics, however, pointed out the contradiction, noting that his own music frequently sexualizes relationships between women when it aligns with male fantasies. These incidents have had tangible consequences, both publicly and professionally. In March 2025, Planet Fitness banned Boosie from all locations, citing his previous transphobic remarks about Zaya Wade. His statements have affected his income and access to certain venues. On a personal level, Boosie's controversies have affected his family. In 2023, his daughter Poison Ivy came out as a lesbian. In an interview with Vlad TV, Boosie admitted that her sexuality wasn't accepted in their Southern Baptist household. Being rejected by a parent for one's identity carries profound and lasting emotional impact. Despite, or perhaps because of, his unapologetic stance, Boosie maintains a loyal fan base that values his consistency. In an era where many artists adjust their image for mainstream approval, he has remained firm in his beliefs, even at financial and professional cost, as his sentencing date, November 23, 2025, approaches. Questions remain about his future. The plea agreement recommends a 2-year sentence followed by 3 years of supervised release, though the final decision depends on how the judge evaluates key factors. His attorney, Megan Blanco, is advocating for leniency, highlighting Boosie's charitable contributions and positive community involvement. She hopes the court will consider probation rather than prison, taking into account efforts like the Caleb Wilson Memorial Scholarship and his responsibilities as a father to 9 children. However, the federal court system is strict, and Boosie's criminal history, combined with his controversies, may work against him. prosecutors have pursued an aggressive approach and are likely to seek the full 2-year sentence.
I don't know. It's up to the judge to give me credit for my anger monitor.
Exactly.
It's up to the judge to give me credit for my anger monitor.
If Boosie serves time, his career path shows a history of recovery. After a 5-year prison stint, he signed with Atlantic Records and released Touchdown to Cause Hell in 2015, which debuted at number 3 on the Billboard 200. That success demonstrated that incarceration didn't diminish his fan loyalty. His latest album, Words of a Real One, released in August 2025, shows he remains creatively strong despite facing federal charges. The project has been well received by fans and positions him for future opportunities. Throughout the legal proceedings, the hip-hop community has shown consistent support. Social media posts such as "Stay Strong Boosie" and "We Got You" reflect a loyalty that is rare in an industry known for rapid changes and shifting alliances. However, culture is evolving, and Boosie's traditional views may not align with the increasingly progressive hip-hop audience. His stance on LGBTQ+ issues could limit his appeal beyond his core supporters. Meanwhile, his conflict with Charleston White continues. White has pledged to target Boosie's family online during his incarceration, meaning public disputes may persist even if Boosie serves time.
And they got people from the feds calling me, blowing me up right now, bro, everywhere, bro. When you coming up here? We just heard the news. Man, this shit, I ain't even in jail, dog.
Need a cellmate? Where do I sign up?
Got a bag waiting on you, you straight.
Even his critics recognize Boosie's street credibility. Reports suggest that federal inmates are already trying to connect with him ahead of his sentencing, a sign that his reputation carries weight wherever he goes. Major outlets like Billboard and Rolling Out have noted that resolving this case, even if it includes prison time, could give Boosie the closure he needs to fully refocus on his music. In many ways, the uncertainty and stress of federal charges may have been more challenging than serving a sentence itself. Regardless of the outcome on November 21st, Boosie has cemented his legacy as one of hip-hop's most authentic figures. From the streets of Baton Rouge to a courtroom in San Diego, he has stayed true to himself, never compromising his identity or background. The system may have tested him, but he remains standing. The next chapter of his journey begins on November 21st, 2025, when Judge Kathy Benno delivers the final sentence. Whether he serves the recommended 2 years, receives probation, or faces a stricter judgment, one thing is certain: Boosie Badazz has proven that genuine resilience doesn't break under pressure. His story goes beyond a single federal case. It reflects how someone from the Baton Rouge projects transformed struggle into success, leveraged street smarts to climb the music charts, and stayed connected to his roots, even when it came at a cost. Whether behind bars or free, Boosie's influence continues to resonate. His journey will inspire the next generation of artists who refuse to compromise their truth for popularity. Hip-hop still needs voices like his, those who speak honestly and stand firm in their beliefs, regardless of consequences. One thing is clear: the streets will always honor authenticity, and few embody that more than Boosie Badazz. If you enjoyed this video, like it, and explore more related content using the suggested cards on your screen.